Hi guys, welcome back. This time we're doing the LED set on the Lego DeLorean. So, excuse me, this is a set from Light Up My World, new lighting kits. It was a mid-range set, this one, so it wasn't the cheapest, it wasn't the most expensive. It was sort of mid-range. Now, I have been looking for the link in which I could sort of put a link in the description below to show you where to get this kit from. Unfortunately, I can no longer find it for some reason. So I don't know if I had it from eBay or through Amazon. I can't exactly remember. I have been looking and I can't find it. But I want to say it was around £45 for the kit. So, and I distinctly remember, I think it was in US dollars as well, and it got shipped. But there are many other lighting kits on the market that do exactly the same, that you could buy for more or less. I've seen them up to £100 for this particular Lego set. I did not want to go to £100, so I stuck around the 40 mark, and I think you'll agree that when you see the finished product, it really does look pretty good for the amount we've paid. So we're into the video here now, and all we've done so far is we've taken the DeLorean off the display shelf that it was on, and literally it was in the disguise of Back to the Future 3 or the third film. So it had the micro circuits on the hood, the red wheels and things like that. And when we put it on display originally, it was in the guise of the first film, Back to the Future 1, and had the long pole sticking out at the back that connected to the wire across the road for when the lightning hit the clock tower. So for this, guys, we're going for the second film, or part 2 of the trilogy. And we're going to light it that way, and we're going to flip the wheels over, which you can do with this model. And we're going to have it hovering. So obviously we had to take it back to how it looked in the second film, which we've done here. Yeah, and the first stage in this kit, there is 9 bags, and you get a card which you've just seen a picture of not long ago with a QR code on. You scan the QR code and it takes you to the instructions of how to fit the LEDs and where to fit them. Now, it doesn't have any worded instructions, it's all done in pictures, but they are quite clear. And some of them could be slightly clearer, especially where you've got black on black wires against black Lego. but you can zoom into those areas, which I found really useful. Excuse me. So you can zoom in and see exactly where the wires went. I've done 2 other LED kits. This will be the 3rd. I did one for the Saturn V rocket, which was a very basic kit. I then did one for the upgraded LL928, the space Lego, and that video is already on the channel for you to go back and have a look at. That was a relatively cheap kit, the LL928 one. This is a more expensive kit, and you can tell there's been a lot more thought given in this particular kit to where the wiring is going to go, so you won't be able to see it. In the previous kit I did, there wasn't that much thought given to the wiring, and the wiring was quite a bit thicker than the wiring on this particular model. Now, this was the wiring or the first stage lighting for the headlights and the indicator lights just under the bumper. And immediately, obviously we've got this currently on fast forward, but immediately what I realised is, one, that the wires are very, very fiddly. 2, I should have been slightly more prepared than I was. So in the next part of the video, I've then got a couple of fine screwdrivers and a pair of tweezers, albeit the tweezers are not very fine and they could do with being finer. So I'm going to have a scout around some, beauty salon nail places or whatever and see if I can find sort of the sort of tweezers they use, and just need a very fine set to thread the wiring through some of the areas that your fingers won't fit. And I did this downstairs, not in the sort of loft area that we've created where most of the Lego is situated. And we've done that purely because of lighting. There is a lot better lighting in the kitchen area, and it's been a lot easier to see to do the wiring downstairs rather than in the loft where it's all artificial lighting. And the previous one I did in the kitchen, but it was over the winter time, and I had a similar issue there. It was actually seeing the wiring up against the dark parts of the Lego. So there is that to consider when you're doing that, especially if you're a bit like me and you're short-sighted. I have tried things, magnifying things and all sorts to try and make it a bit clearer, but unfortunately it doesn't really help because you're trying to hold the wire with one hand whilst holding a magnifying glass or whatever with the other hand. So the best way I've found to do it is just get yourself where there's plenty of light. Yeah, take your time with it. Yeah, and have your Lego tool for prizing bits of Lego apart if you can't get them apart with your fingers and things like that. So this part of the build now was the second part. So we did the lights, the headlights on the first part the night before, and then we've moved on to the second part. So you can see in that shot I've got some screwdrivers and some tongs. The first part, bag one, which was the headlights and the indicator lights, took me probably about 45 minutes. You can see there, that is the picture of the tools I used, because I was having so much trouble. And I haven't got fat fingers, I've got relatively average size fingers, but trying to get the wiring through some of the holes and some of the recesses in the model without stripping it down completely were quite difficult. And what I liked about this kit is the fact that it doesn't ask you to strip down the entire model. You're only stripping down the areas in which you need to work on. So for me, that was really good. What we did do here is actually knocked the front screen out when we were trying to get the lights in the roof area. That was quite fiddly, even with tongs, tweezers and everything else, because the lighting bar or the LED bar is a sticker. So you peel the backing off and you stick it to the roof of the model, and trying to get it in the right place, lifting the gull wing doors up and positioning it correctly was a right faff. And in the end, what I wound up doing was taking the windscreen out, positioning the LED light bar, and then putting it all back together. So that bit was quite a faff, and I found it really annoying, because as I was trying to put other parts of the windscreen back, other bits were popping out and things like that. So it did take me a while just to get all that repositioned and back to where it needs to be. So once we'd got that part in, the next stage, after securing, you can see me there making sure it's all secured. We did have a bit of an issue with these back panels here that had popped out as well, and making sure that the wiring was ran in the right place. But the next part of the build was the back bumper. And as you can see, we keep turning things there, things keep falling off, and so it is a right faff. So you want to do it where you know you're not going to lose any bits. And we did have a broken piece there. However, that wasn't broken during this part. It was broken before we even started, so I just replaced it with a spare piece that was in the bag. It was a little grey one sloping brick that just went from the top of the wing to the bottom of the window. So the next part was threading the wire from the roof space down, and I believe it went into the back wheel arch and then out under the car, and all the wires at this stage are being run to the central bit under the time machine where the wheel controls are. And when I say wheel controls, if you've got this model, you'll know that when you flip it upside down, there's a red bar that you can flip from left to right, side to side, whatever, and that will turn the wheels so that they're facing down, as though the car is in hover mode, as it was in the second film when it was able to fly. So all the wires for this kit are being run to that central location. So another thing to mention, that all these bags are numbered, and what you don't want to do is throw away the bags or the numbers, because when you get to putting a wire in, it asks you to remove the number off the bag and wrap it round the corresponding wire. So I would imagine that when we get to the end of this build and we connect it all up, they have to be in a certain place on the wiring board. I don't know. Or it could be something as simple as to say that bag number 1 is your headlights, if you ever need to go back and change anything or redo anything. You can probably hear the bird tweeting in the background. Apologies for that. But unfortunately in our house you can't get away from the bird tweeting. However, so we're starting on the next part here. We're just opening the bag. What it doesn't tell you, which was annoying to me, is that when you get to the first part of the build, you take out the section that does the front headlights and the front indicators and you put them straight in, which we did here. At the end of that, it then tells you to connect it to the battery box and test them that way. So you've got the headlights and the indicators in at this point, and then you're testing them. And then before you start the next stage, which is the light bar in the the driver's area, before you start that, there is a note on the instructions that says test all parts before fitting. I think that would have been more appropriate at the beginning of the instructions, not after the first stage, because what I then had to do was make sure that I'd got a spare bar and wiring to make sure I could test the stuff. I think that should have been at the beginning, and it should have perhaps shown you how to test the wiring before you started. In hindsight, I would have preferred that. I don't know why it's like that in the pack. And Light Up My World, by the way, I'm not sponsored by them. It's just a pack that I picked online. I reviewed quite a few online packs, and that was right for me. That was right for my price range. So that's why I went with it ultimately, not because of any deal I've got with Light My Bricks, because I haven't. Oh, sorry, Light Up My World, because I haven't. It was just one that I picked. I like the look of it. I like the price range, and so that's what I went with. But as the kit goes on, that is really the only issue that I found. That disclaimer would have been better for testing the lights at the beginning rather than into the second stage. So we are into the second stage now, and this is the stage for lighting up the rear lights. As you can see down there, we have got the rear light section played out. What I liked about this is that they are a 2x3 plate. It's a clear plate, and it has 6 LEDs in each plate, one for each headlight. Rear light bezel, so that every light in those clusters lights up. So for me, that was part of the reason that I picked this set. I have seen sets where there is more lights. So on some of the sets, the I don't know what they're called, the sort of fins at the back, where the car travels through time and then steam or smoke comes out the back. On some of the kits, those actually light up as well. They don't on this one. It's mainly the wheels, the lights, the rear lights, the cockpit of the car, and the wheels themselves when they're in the inverted position or not, that will light up on this model. But the more expensive ones, there is more lighting options, and there is even sound options on the more expensive ones as well. As you can see here, this is what it looked like when we dismantled it. So this was quite a long piece of the video. There you can see we've inserted some of the light bezels there. This seemed to take forever, but it was literally around probably 40 minutes to an hour actually in total. We didn't hit any problems. We did change the number plate over there as well to the one that was in the second film. I didn't actually do that when we did the third film model, just purely because I didn't fancy taking the entire back end apart. So while we'd got the back end apart for this, I took the opportunity of putting the correct number plate in. So when you get this pack, you get two number plates, the out of time one, which is in the original film, and then when the doc goes to 2015 and has the hover conversion done, he comes back with a barcoded number plate, which is in the second and third films. I'd had the third film set up with the first film number plate, which I wasn't really happy about, but like I say, it's quite a lengthy process just to take all the back end apart just to fit that one piece of plastic. So I opted not to do it. I changed it now because obviously we've got to take the back end apart to put the LEDs in. So I thought it's an ideal time to swap them out. So what we're doing now is we're just putting the boot or the back of the car back together and just making sure it's all nice and secure. Just making sure that we've got the pieces in the right place. This back end part, getting the wiring in, that boot area was pretty straightforward. It didn't give me too much hassle at all. When we come to do the lighting around the sides of these back panels, that was a bit more of a different story. As we were putting things on, things popped off, and it was much more of a difficult part of the build, but a more satisfying one because you can see what bits are going to light up and the type of final product that you're going to get. The only thing that has been lit up, and you've already seen it in this video, was the headlights. We did test these parts going in to make sure that they were working. However, once they're on the car, the first time that I will see it all lit up is when it's complete and we put the final set of LEDs in, because there is no real way, with all these different wires all over the place, bits missing and things like that, of testing it as you go. I suppose that's why they want you to test the wiring before you put it into the model, to make sure that it is working. But we did that, as I said, from stage 2 onwards, because that's where it says test it all. And we did test the first set, which is the picture towards the beginning of this video. So we do know the headlights and the indicator lights are working, and everything else has been tested as it goes in. At the end of each stage, the last stage of each bag is to take the number off the bag and attach it to the corresponding wire underneath the car. And this battery pack, although I've not tried it, and I will, hopefully will fit in the gap under the car. If it doesn't, we can probably do some manoeuvring there, because my idea is I want it to sit underneath the car so it can be switched on. The car can look like it's hovering and you won't be able to see the battery pack or the wiring. That's my plan. Whether it turns out like that, you'll have to wait and see. at the end of the video. This video is going to be two parts because when I sat down to edit all this, we're on fast forward now, there would have been over 2.5 hours footage, and I thought that was a bit much for one video. So we've broken this into two and we are on fast forward. So to spare you the fact of sitting through 2 hours of me fiddling with some Lego. If you've got any questions about the pack itself or the fitting of the pack, please just drop a comment down below. I'll endeavour to answer any questions I can. And at any point, should I come across where I had the damn thing from, I will also put that link in future videos. But I'm at a loss at the minute, whether it came from eBay, Amazon, it was bought via a private vendor, I genuinely can't remember. It was bought like 5-6 months ago, and I've only just got round to fitting it. So unfortunately, I just generally don't. I've tried Googling Light Up My World and things like that, and I just can't find the company that supplied this particular lighting kit. And so if you guys know, again, drop a comment down below and I can drop the link into this video. I have got a feeling though, like I said earlier, it was an American company, because I'm sure I paid in US dollars and had it shipped to the UK. Because the similar one that I was looking at in the UK, I think was about £75, and this worked out about £40. I think it was round about 49 US dollars or something like that, and the postage and packing was reasonable. It wasn't break the bank, it was a few quid. So, but like I say, I wish I'd got more detail on that to show you guys, but I haven't at this time. If it comes to light in a later video, I will get it. Don't normally do voiceovers for the videos either, but this was shot in half term. The kids were off, the house was noisy, the bird was going ballistic, the TV was on. As you can see, there's a lot of movement in the background, so the sound quality was absolutely atrocious on the video. So the best way to do it was just to do this voiceover. So again, let me know if you prefer me talking on the videos or whether you prefer the voiceovers. Some of you might prefer me to shut up altogether, I don't know, but that's the reason we've done it with a voiceover. So that pretty much concludes this video. Like I say, it's going to be in two parts. Hopefully the concluding part, if it doesn't run over what this is, we're around about 35 minutes, should be about the similar length of time. Yeah, I've really enjoyed doing these LED conversions, and I do want to do a couple more of them. I have purchased one for the Lego Discovery Shuttle and the Hubble Space Telescope, so that'll be next. We have got some other builds coming on the channel that might get thrown in between. That's all the wiring for the backlights. But again, if you like this video and you've enjoyed watching it, please like and subscribe. We are trying to get as many subscribers as we can. And if you follow us on TikTok, you'll be able to follow a build there that's going on 1 brick per subscriber. So thanks for watching. See you soon.